happened when I was 16. A cold, stormy night in November. The kind of night where thunder shakes the windows and the wind feels alive. My mom was working the night shift at the hospital. My stepdad was out of town. So yeah, the house was mine. I wasn't planning anything crazy, just a quiet night. My best friend Mia came over around 8. We'd been close since middle school, always daring each other to do stupid, scary stuff. That night, after 2 horror movies, we got bored, and that's when Mia pulled out her phone and said,
"Hey, have you heard of the mirror game?"
I hadn't. She explained it like this. One person hides somewhere in the house. The other has to find them using a mirror. But here's the catch. You can't look directly around corners. You can only look through the reflection. It sounded harmless, but the way she said it, like a challenge, made me uneasy. Still, I agreed. We turned off every light except the hallway lamp. The house fell into this soft, yellow gloom. Shadows stretched across the walls, long and warped. Mia grinned.
"I'll hide first,"
she said. I covered my eyes and started counting in the kitchen. 1, 2, 3. By the time I hit 50, the only sound was the rain outside. I picked up the small mirror from the counter, a hand mirror my mom used for makeup, and said quietly, "Ready or not, here I come." The mirror felt cold in my hand as I started searching. I used it to peek around corners, watching my reflection twist in the glass. The living room, empty. The laundry room, nothing. The bathroom door creaked open like it hadn't been touched in years. When I turned the mirror toward the stairs, my breath caught. At the top of the steps, in the reflection, someone was standing there. Still, perfectly still. I couldn't make out the face, just the outline of someone tall, watching. I grinned. "Gotcha," I said, and climbed the stairs. Each step creaked under my feet. The air felt heavy, like it didn't want me up there. But when I reached the top, no one was there. The hallway was empty. The air was colder, though, like the heat had been sucked out of the walls. "Mia?" I called. Nothing. I checked my mom's room, the guest room, all empty. Finally, I pointed the mirror toward my bedroom. The door was cracked open just enough to see a sliver of darkness. In the reflection, I saw bare feet standing behind the door. My stomach flipped. I lowered the mirror, but when I looked directly, no feet, no one. Okay, seriously, stop trying to freak me out. No answer. Then I heard it, a whisper from downstairs. My name, soft, drawn out, like someone testing how it sounded. I froze. "Mia?" Nothing. I crept down the stairs, mirror trembling in my hand. The front door was wide open, rain blowing in. I slammed it shut, my heart pounding. That's when I saw it, a reflection in the glass cabinet across the room. Someone who looked exactly like me, was standing in the hallway, smiling. I turned around. The hallway was empty. I looked back at the glass, and the reflection was gone. My whole body started shaking. I whispered to myself, This is just the storm, just my imagination. Then I heard footsteps above me, slow, deliberate, moving across the floor. I ran up the stairs again, shouting Mia's name. No answer. When I reached the top landing, the lights flickered. The mirror slipped from my hand and shattered against the floor. And then, a voice whispered right behind me. Your turn. Every light in the house went out. I stood there in complete darkness. The only sound was my own breathing. Then, my phone buzzed in my pocket. I pulled it out. The flashlight was already on, except I hadn't turned it on. The camera app was open, and it was showing me from behind. In the screen's reflection, someone was standing over my shoulder. Tall, gray face blurred like static. I didn't look back. I ran. I tore down the stairs, through the kitchen, and out the back door into the rain. I didn't stop until I reached Mia's house. I pounded on the door until she opened it, her eyes wide, half asleep. "Why are you here?" she said. "I'm supposed to be at my cousin's tonight." My heart nearly stopped. If Mia hadn't been there with me, then who was playing the game? The police searched my house the next morning. They said the front door latch was broken, like someone had forced it open, but there was no sign of anyone inside. No footprints, no fingerprints, nothing missing. They said it was probably just a prank. Maybe I left the door open and the storm blew it. But I know what I saw and what I heard. For weeks I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that whisper again. Your turn. One night, about a month later, I was brushing my teeth before bed. I looked up, and in the mirror behind me, for just a second, someone was standing in the hallway. Tall, still, watching. When I turned around, nothing. But the mirror, fogged up by itself, and written in the condensation were 2 words. Found you. It happened the summer I turned 15. My family had just moved to a quiet rural town in Maine, the kind of place with 1 gas station, no streetlights, and more forest than houses. Behind our new home was a stretch of woods the locals called Whisper Hollow. They said the name came from the way the wind made the trees sound at night, like they were whispering secrets to each other. But people also said other things about it, things they didn't say too loud. They said if you played games in those woods after dark, you wouldn't always be the only ones playing. I didn't believe that. Not then. I met 3 kids on my street that summer: Ethan, Brooke, and Logan. They were all about my age. We spent most nights outside, building forts, riding bikes, sneaking sodas. When the sun went down, the woods behind our houses became our playground. That August night, it was hot and still, no breeze, no crickets. The air felt too quiet. We were sitting around a dead campfire when Ethan suggested we play a game of hide and seek. But Brooke shook her head and said, "No, not regular hide and seek. Let's play it the way the Hollow kids do." I asked what that meant. She smiled a little too wide. "It's called echo tag. You hide, the seeker counts to 30, and if you hear a whisper, you have to whisper back." Ethan frowned. "What happens if you don't?" Brooke shrugged. They say that's how you lose." We all laughed. It sounded stupid, like a local ghost story someone made up to scare kids. But it was almost midnight, and we were bored. So we played. Logan volunteered to seek first. He turned toward a tree and started counting. 28, 29, 30. The rest of us ran in different directions. I sprinted into the trees, heart racing, my sneakers crunching the dry leaves. After maybe 20 seconds, I ducked behind a fallen log and crouched low. For a while, all I could hear was my own breathing. Then, faintly, someone's footsteps. They were slow, deliberate. I froze. They stopped a few yards away. I held my breath, waiting for Logan to call me out, but he didn't. Then I heard it. A whisper. Soft. Close. Right next to my ear. It wasn't Logan's voice. It wasn't any of my friends. It sounded older and wrong. It said, "Don't breathe." My whole body went rigid. The woods were dead silent again. No footsteps, no voices, just the sound of my heart pounding in my chest. I wanted to run, but the rules said if you heard a whisper, you had to whisper back. I hesitated, then whispered, "Who's there?" Nothing. Then a breath of cold air brushed my neck, like someone was leaning over me. I screamed and bolted through the trees, branches scraping my arms. When I reached the clearing, everyone was already there, except Logan. Ethan asked what happened, but I could barely get the words out. I said someone whispered to me, but Brooke laughed. "That's the hollow," she said. "You have to whisper back the right words, or it follows you." I didn't even ask what she meant. Just then Logan came stumbling out of the woods, pale and shaking. We ran over to him, but he wouldn't look at us. He just said, "Someone's still in there." "What do you mean?" Ethan asked. Logan pointed behind him. "I saw her." We followed his gaze, but there was nothing. Just trees fading into darkness. We all decided to call it a night. Everyone laughed it off except me and Logan. I walked home that night feeling like something was behind me the whole time. When I got to my room, I locked my window. But around 2 a.m., I woke up to a sound, a whisper, right outside. It was my name. I froze, staring at the window. The whisper came again, clearer this time. "Don't breathe." My heart nearly stopped. I pulled the blanket over my head like I was 5 years old again. But then I heard tapping on the glass, slow and rhythmic. 3 taps. Pause. 3 more. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, my mom asked why I looked so tired. I told her what happened. She frowned and said, "You shouldn't be out there after dark. People go missing in those woods." I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. She showed me an article from a few years ago about a boy my age who disappeared while playing hide and seek near Whisper Hollow. His friends said they heard him talking to someone that wasn't there. I didn't go near the woods for the next week. But Ethan and Brooke convinced me to play again the following Friday. They said Logan hadn't come outside since that night and wanted to check on him. When we got to his house, his mom said he wasn't home. He'd gone to stay with his uncle for a while. We looked at each other, uneasy. Brooke tried to laugh it off, but I could see her hands shaking. Still, we went back to the clearing to play one more round, just to prove it was all fake. This time I was the seeker. I counted slowly against a tree while the others ran into the dark. When I reached 30, I called out, "Ready or not?" And then I froze, because faintly, somewhere deeper in the woods, I heard whispering. Not one voice, dozens, overlapping, echoing through the trees like the wind was full of people. I turned my flashlight that way. For a moment I thought I saw shapes, thin, tall shadows between the trunks, watching, listening. I shouted for Ethan and Brooke to come out, but they didn't. The whispering got louder, and then, clear as day, I heard my own voice whisper it back, right next to me. It said, "Don't breathe." I ran. I didn't care where. I ran until the trees broke and I hit the edge of the street near my house. I turned around once, just once, and in the tree line, I saw a figure standing there, tall and motionless. I couldn't see its face, but it was wrong, like its head was turned too far, like it was listening to something behind it. The next day, Ethan and Brooke didn't answer their phones. Their parents thought they'd gone hiking together. They never came back. The police searched Whisper Hollow for 2 weeks. They found nothing, no tracks, no signs of struggle. Just their flashlight, sitting in the dirt near the clearing, still on. It's been 3 years since that night. My family moved away soon after. But sometimes, when the wind picks up in the trees outside my window, I still hear it, a whispering whisper, soft, familiar. And if I listen closely, I can hear them, Brooke, Ethan, Logan, all whispering the same thing together. Don't breathe. I grew up in a small town called Bramble Hill. You've probably never heard of it. It's one of those places that doesn't even show up on half the maps. One main road, one school, and endless empty fields. The kind of town where nothing ever happens. Until something does. It started one summer when I was 14. My friends and I, Sam, Tyler, and Drew, spent every day outside. We rode our bikes down the dirt roads, built ramps, played basketball in the driveway until the sun dipped behind the trees. Then one afternoon, a new kid showed up. He was standing on the edge of the field behind my house, just watching us play. He looked about our age, maybe a little older. Dark hoodie, hands in his pockets, expressionless. At first, I thought he was just some random neighbor's cousin visiting for the summer. He waved once, a slow, awkward wave, and then walked toward us. "Hey," he said in this flat, quiet voice. "You guys need another player?" We looked at each other. Tyler shrugged. "Sure." The kid said his name was Nate. He said he'd just moved into the old farmhouse at the edge of town, the one that had been empty for years. He didn't talk much while we played, didn't laugh, didn't joke, just watched everything really closely like he was studying us, every move, every word. When it started getting dark, I asked if he wanted to hang out again tomorrow. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Yeah," he said. "I'll find you." That night I told my mom about him. She frowned. "There's no one living in that farmhouse, honey. It's been abandoned since the fire." I thought she was wrong. Maybe someone finally bought it. But when I biked by the next morning, the place looked exactly the same as always. Windows boarded up, grass overgrown, the mailbox still rusted shut. That's when I saw him again. Nate, standing on the porch, just staring at me. I called out, "Hey, you live there, right?" He didn't answer. He just smiled and waved, the same slow wave, before stepping back into the dark doorway. That afternoon, the guys came over again. When I mentioned what happened, Sam said maybe Nate was squatting there. Tyler joked that he was probably a ghost. We laughed, but it didn't feel funny. Later that day, Nate showed up again, out of nowhere, like he'd been waiting. We decided to play a game of manhunt. It was one of those summer evenings where the air feels heavy, like the world's holding its breath. We split into 2 teams. Nate wanted to hide first. He said he knew a perfect place. He smiled when he said it, his first real smile. And for some reason, that made me more nervous than anything else. He told us to count to 50. We covered our eyes. And when we opened them, he was gone. We searched for almost half an hour. Nothing. We checked behind trees, under the deck, in the tall grass by the fence, but he was just gone. Eventually, we gave up and sat in the yard waiting for him to come back. The sun had gone down and crickets filled the silence. That's when we heard it. A voice from the edge of the field, whispering our names. At first, I thought it was Nate messing with us. Then I realized the voice wasn't coming from one spot. It was echoing from the trees, from the shed, from behind us. Tyler stood up. "Okay, seriously, where are you, man?" No answer. Just soft laughing. Low and broken, like static. We bolted inside. When we looked out the window, someone was standing in the yard, tall, still, facing the house. I grabbed my dad's flashlight and shined it through the glass. The beam hit the figure, and it was Nate. But something was wrong. His clothes were filthy, and his face looked burned. Half of it was covered in soot and ash. He smiled up at us and whispered something I couldn't hear through the window. Then he turned and walked back toward the field, straight toward the old farmhouse. The next day, my mom called the sheriff. He went out there to check. When he came back, he looked pale. He said the farmhouse was empty, and had been for decades. He also said there was a name carved into the front porch railing. Nathaniel Harper. The same name as the kid who died in that house fire 20 years ago. We didn't believe him at first, until that night. I woke up to tapping at my window. 3 slow taps. Pause. 3 more. I sat up, frozen. The curtains moved slightly, like someone had brushed past them. When I pulled them back, no one was there. But in the reflection of the glass, just for a split second, I saw Nate standing behind me. Burned face, empty eyes, smiling. I spun around. Nothing. The next morning I went to the field. The grass where he'd stood was scorched, black and brittle, like it had been burned overnight. We never saw him again. But a few weeks later, I found something on our porch, a half-melted basketball, the same one we'd used the day we met him. The rubber was charred, and written across it in dark ash were 3 words. I found you. I don't play outside much anymore. And every time summer rolls around, I hear that voice again, faint, carried on the wind, whispering from somewhere out in the fields, my name. And then softly, almost kindly, your turn.